in the first half, did a really good job. Limited with their ability to do some things. Second half, though, they got on us 21 points, which is too much. Now, offensively, we put them in some tough spots, certainly. But ultimately, our guys responded, and we did enough to keep them from scoring more points than us offensively. And the 3 2-point stops were huge. They were huge. And, just defensively, some players that really stood out. I thought Charles Harris was outstanding. Jerry Jacobs was a factor in that game. CJ did a good job. Alex Anzalone, and then our 2 young guys, man, our 2 tackles, Levi and Aleem, really stepped up, man. I thought they had pretty big games for us. I thought from a special team standpoint, Fox really stood out, man. Just his kickoffs and his punts and then even holding on the field goals, man, just his procedure. He's really come a long way, and he's a weapon for us, but he's got a ton of versatility. He had a nice game for us. I thought our deep snapper Daly and certainly Patterson, our kicker, to go in there and nail 3 of those was really good. Both of our returners were good. Leaf and Godwin, I thought, made good decisions on the day, and then just I thought Hodge, our gunner, did a good job on special teams. And then offensively, look, here's what it was a cleaner game, certainly from the aspect, man, penalties didn't kill us. And, we didn't have explosive runs, but yet we were efficient in the run game. It gave us, the ability to get to first, second down, back to first, was big. And really, ultimately, we won this game in 2 minutes, which was kind of a focal point for us. We said last week is, man, we got to be so much better in 2 minutes. And really, we came away with 13 points in 2 minutes. Situations before half and then at the end of the game, which was big for us. We had 5 explosive passes, which you'd like to have more. However, the explosives we had were big at big times. One of those was a touchdown to Brock, right? So that was encouraging. Here's what's negative. The third downs are still not good enough. And then certainly when you go for it on 4th and 1 twice and don't get it, that's a gut punch. It's not good enough. And, I wanted to be aggressive this game. I felt like we needed to be, but you don't want to be aggressive and then not get it, because now look what happens. I mean, we put ourselves in a bind. That's not the point of it. But defense bailed us out. Offensively, we came through when we needed to. We got to start faster in both halves offensively. It takes us a minute to get going, and once we do, we strike pretty good, but then we hit a lull again. But I thought Goff came out and drove us down the field, and our skilled players showed up, and the O-line protected him. So good job. Open up to questions.
Justin?
Dan, we've talked a lot about margin of error this year and how slim it is. This certainly wasn't a perfect game. Outgained, time possession battle, turnovers, 2 of 11 on third down. You mentioned a lot of those things. What does it say, I guess, maybe about the corner maybe this is that you're turning, that you can win a game where it wasn't perfect?
Yeah, well, look, I think that's what this league's about a little bit, man. You're striving for perfection, knowing you'll never get there, but ultimately it's got to be about, man, you got to be one play better than your opponent. And I think it does say something to our guys. They just hung in there. They continue to work, and to be able to go down and look, here's one of the things I'm most proud of is that we finally finished a game with the ball in our hand offensively. We put our defense out there so many times to hold up, and they've stood their ground. And offensively, man, you want to be able to end these games, whether it's in kneeling it down or you're finishing it with the ball in your hand. So that was good. And there again, we just made one more play than they did. I didn't say this. I do need to say this. Certainly, St. Brown had a huge game for us. I kind of gave you guys game ball winners, but St. Brown offensively, I thought Josh Reynolds, Jamal Williams, and Brock Wright did well as too. Anyway, Justin, I hope that answers that.
Yeah, and you noted the explosive pass plays. I think we all saw the effort to get the ball downfield. How much of that was, I guess, a counter to being without Swift and having to find a different solution in the game plan this week?
I would say this, they're more, not so much the explosives down the field, although you bring up a good point because he's been an explosive play creator for us. But it's more about filling the void of the yards that he has gotten us in the run and pass game. And so just being able to find those completions or those runs for the other guys were big. And, and it got spread around pretty good because of that. Looking for explosives, though, is just, you're always looking for those. And particularly this game, we felt like we had some matchups that we want to take advantage of. And, they did a pretty good job. Just schematically, they took a couple of them away, but we were able to find some. So it was enough to help us.
Thanks, Dan.
Yep.
Corey.
Hey, Dan, how you doing this afternoon?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. So yesterday, your social media team, they caught your reaction after Jared Goff delivered the game with a touchdown. You had you went in like a little Michael Jordan over Craig Elo jump and fist pump, and then you went almost like a Stone Cold style, hands raised, walk off to the field. Just can you compare your moment of your first win as the Lions head coach to like your first win as the interim head coach back then?
Yeah, look, I don't know how to, I think this one was special because it's just been, man, we've been through a lot already this season, man. There again, to know when you're in this building and around these guys almost 24/7, these coaches, and the amount of work that goes into it and what you're trying to do, what you're trying to build and validate everything. And to know they just continue to work and lay it on the line. That's what makes you feel so good. It really does. That we got over the hump for a game, and now they got a taste of it, and it feels good, and you should be able to enjoy it. But knowing we gotta buckle down and get to the next one. So look, yes, it was great to get the first one here as Lions coach, but I just bring this up again, man. I don't care what win it is. Winning feels good. I don't know when it is, how it is, when it comes, but man, that's what you do this for.
And if I could follow up with that, I know you said that when things are going bad, that a lot of people reached out to you, such as Mike Vrabel, to offer their, words of encouragement. If you could share anybody that reached out to you following the victory?
No, only because I don't have time to respond back to everybody, So I think a lot of them have been holding out, waiting for the first win to be able to send a text. So, but I received a number of texts, which is appreciated.
Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Dave.
Players got you good in the locker room too, with the water and the game ball and everything by the looks of it. So
I was drenched, and I actually felt bad. They drenched me with little water bottles and all this stuff. It was fine. And then I go back to my office, and there's Mrs. Martha Ford back there, and I know she was super excited, but I'm just drenched. I think she wanted to hug, but I didn't want to hug her, and so it was kind of it was a little awkward. But I felt awful because I knew I would douse her because I was just dripping off of me. But no, look, it was cool, man. I appreciate those guys.
Yeah. What was today a victory Monday? And if you saw any players, what was sort of their reaction the day after? I mean, is there a weight off their shoulders in some ways just to get this to play a little loose now going down the stretch here?
Yeah, no, it was kind of victory, but yet it wasn't. So what we had the players come in on their own as a group and lift and run with Mike Clark and our strength staff. And then just reach out to your coaches about the film individually. So we didn't do a full meeting and all those things. And so we wanted to do that. And so, no, I haven't been able to see anybody. I just know when I left last night, a lot of those guys, well, all of them, they were on cloud nine. It was a good feeling.
One minor thing that you didn't mention that has popped up here a couple of games is just some of the delay of game penalties at inopportune times. I don't know. Can you address that? Is there anything going on, or some of those strategic in a way? I don't know what's happening with some of those.
No, that's we've got to get that call relayed in the huddle.
And then last thing, Jared said something yesterday about when he was asked about pushing the ball down the field. He said he felt great on those throws because you'd repped them and you'd done it, in practice for a few weeks and kind of getting on the field and getting that look. And I was just wondering, in addition to when you took the play calling duties, is he alluding to anything like have you structured practice or rep game stuff any different the past couple of weeks?
Really what we've done, probably one change we've done, we've just added a little more time to our group periods, which comes right after individual to really try to hone in on the details, particularly in the pass game. Look, all of it needs details, but I think the pass game, it takes more time, and it does. You have to be a lot more thorough than even in the run game at times, So I do think that's helped. I think that's helped with it a little bit.
Great. Thanks, Dan.
Yep.
All right, 3 more. Chris?
Hey, Dan. Beyond the locker room celebration, do you get a minute after that game yesterday to go home or relax or celebrate outside the building at all?
Yeah, no, I went home with the family and just kind of laid low. I'll be honest with you. Crazy as it sounds, it was, man, I was spent. And so I really didn't have much left. However, I couldn't sleep, and that in a good way though. Normally you don't sleep when things don't go great, but I didn't sleep well in a good way. Just, you're kind of full of just things going through your head, the positives, the things. You still go through things you wish you'd have done better, but so I look, it just felt good to sit on the couch and sit back with the family and just have a laugh, have a smile, build a fire, and just kind of hang for a little bit before I watch the game on my iPad. So, which is good, man. It's satisfying, at least for a little bit, a few hours.
And you mentioned that Jerry had a good game. You had 14 tackles from your starting corners yesterday, which I don't know if that's ideal for you, but obviously they seem to perform well in that area. So I guess what are they doing well, especially Amani and Jerry on the outside there?
Yeah, I mean, look, it starts this way. If they are tackling, it's a good thing because that means they're trying to attack your corners a little bit. And we have enough coverage variation where our corners have to force the run or force some of these shorter throws. And so AG will be the first one to tell you, if you can't tackle, you can't play on this defense. And both of them did that. And Jerry really showed up. He's kind of a pit bull out there, and he can cover one-on-one, but he'll also come up and tackle you and hit you. And so that's good. And then look, Amani there too, made some plays in the run game. But that's part of their job description as well. So, there again, Amani's been pretty steady for us. Now we're going to hold him to high standards. We still expect more out of him because I think he's even better than some of the stuff yesterday. But I thought he did some really good things, but Jerry continues to get better.
Last 2, Tim?
Hey, Dan, congrats on the first win, obviously. Last night, as part of that celebration, was any of it when you sat back on the couch and watched before you re-wins game, was any of that watching Denver at all? And is there any benefit to watching a game live, kind of self-scouting it live before you see everything, on tape the next day?
Yeah, I did. I watched Denver and Casey. I didn't watch the whole game, but I did watch bits and pieces of it. And yeah, sometimes it does. It just kind of gets you a jump start on what they're doing and what went down in that game. So yeah, I kind of like it. It helps, I think, when you have the when it works out that way.
John? Last one.
Hey, Dan, again, congrats on the win. I do have a couple questions about the negatives you brought up. My first one involves the 4th down late in the game. I'm just wondering, I know that you had said yesterday about the looks that you saw in the passing game that maybe made you more comfortable to pass it, but why not in that situation hand the ball off to Jamal Williams in such a short yardage situation?
Yeah. That's a good question. And honestly, it's funny because when I go back to it, if I could have a play over in that game, it wouldn't have been the 4th and 1, it'd been the 3rd and 2 right before it. That's the one I regret. Because I wish that I'd given a better play to Jamal Williams there and we wouldn't even have been sitting in a 4th and 1. So as far as the 4th and 1, Look, did I love it? No. However, if we can be so much better, on how we should have done that play. I mean, just, the little details to it, we would have outflanked the defense. So we just, a couple of little things there procedurally in the way that we needed to function on that play, and it would have been there. So it didn't work out, but more than anything, I regret the 3rd and 2 call that put us into that.
Just as a quick follow-up to that, was there anything that Minnesota was showing that maybe wanted for you to put the ball in Goff's hands instead of running the ball on both times?
Anything they were showing?
Yeah, on defense.
Well, no. I mean, I think that we had a pretty good idea of what was going to be there, but we also, if you look, we haven't run a quarterback sneak all season. So it's like, hey, we think it's going to be there. And, if you feel like you got a gap, maybe we take one, and it didn't work out. And, so yeah, hindsight, it's easy to say because Jamal's been so good, but there again, we as a staff, we go through these calls. What's our first call? Are we good with if there's a sneak ability, or opportunity, we take it, and we did. And so, you live and die by gambling sometimes.
Okay, and then my final one is about the 3rd downs. What correction would you like to see to kind of see that move in a way that you would like?
Yeah, well, one thing, all of us being on the same page. I mean, the first sack we had over there, where he gets blindsided. That's a mental error. So that shouldn't happen. The other one that we get to where we're in the one that's 4th and 1, the ball ends up going where it should. It just needs to get out of Goff's hands a little faster, and then we get the 1st down instead of being in 4th and 1 or whatever that is. But the scheme was there. We just got to pull the trigger a tick faster. And so there again, there's so many little things that, man, you got to hone in on. And so I feel like we're beginning to find some of these schemes we think that we can work with and find ways to get our guys open, St. Brown and they're stepping up, Josh Reynolds. And so we're getting there, but certainly, our 3rd down percentage is still not good enough. So we got to continue to prove so we can stay on the field.
Appreciate it, Dan. Thank you so much.
Okay, John.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Okay. Thank you.